The wilderness within you, the 25th day of Lent, which is the Saturday of week 4. A reading from the prophet Jeremiah, the 19th chapter, verse 14, to the 20th chapter, verse 6, from the New Revised Standard Version. When Jeremiah came from Topheth, where the Lord had sent him to prophesy, he stood in the court of the Lord's house and said to all the people, "Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, I am now bringing upon this city and upon all its towns all the disaster that I have pronounced against it, because they have stiffened their necks, refusing to hear my words." Now the priest Pashur, son of Immer, who was chief officer in the house of the Lord, heard Jeremiah prophesying these things. Then Pashur struck the prophet Jeremiah and put him in the stocks that were in the upper Benjamin gate of the house of the Lord. The next morning, when Pashur released Jeremiah from the stocks, Jeremiah said to him, "The Lord has named you not Pashur, but terror all around. For thus says the Lord, I am making you a terror to yourself and to all your friends, and they shall fall by the sword of their enemies, while you look on. And I will give all Judah into the hand of the king of Babylon. He shall carry them captive to Babylon, and shall kill them with the sword. I will give all the wealth of this city, all its gains, all its prized belongings, and all the treasures of the king of Judah, into the hand of their enemies, who shall plunder them, and seize them, and carry them to Babylon. And you, Pashur, and all who live in your house, shall go into captivity, and to Babylon you shall go. There you shall die, and there you shall be buried, you and all your friends, to whom you have prophesied falsely." And then from the prophet Isaiah, the 45th chapter, verses 6 to 7, again from the NRSV. I am the Lord, and there is no other. I form light and create darkness. I make weal and create woe. I, the Lord, do all these things. For a long time, I say, as we lean on the railings, looking out across the moody, restless sea under the violet burden of clouds, I think people were mainly afraid of God, scared of his displeasure, of hell and damnation. Then came a preaching revolution, underlining his loving kindness. Adrian Plass spoke reassurance to the hearts of an anxious generation, saying, God is nice and he likes you. But I wonder, you see, I've been surprised by how many of the people I know seem to think the existence of God at all is synonymous with things going well for me. Someone they love gets cancer. A lunatic goes crazy in a playground with a gun. They're made redundant in a time of recession and can't get another job. And before you know it, they're concluding there never was any God after all. As if God is a commodity or a personal accessory or something, like an application you can download to make the workings of life run more smoothly. I've listened to people give testimony in church saying, God is really important in my life. And I think, what the hey? What does that mean? A little God that can be fitted into my big, important life, there in the corner, helpfully making all the difference. But God, well, God is foundational to reality. Reality means what proceeds from God. He is the source of the big picture, underlying the meta-narrative, the plane on which all life vibrates. So I do wonder, reading some of the stuff in the Bible issuing dire warnings to people to change their ways or get ready for trouble, if that's not so much God having a hissy fit as the prophet articulating the inevitable. This is what happens if you try to fly in the face of the reality God has ordained. You muck up big time. It all ends in tears. The whole bang shoot comes crashing down around you. And that's not divine spite. It's the plain mechanism of how life is made to be. Jesus listens to this. Have I got that right? I ask him. He considers. Something I notice about Jesus is that he never rushes in. He waits and thinks. He weighs his words, and he listens properly. Half the time in a conversation, I'm waiting with contained impatience for the other person to stop speaking so I can have my turn and spit out the words queuing up inside my head. But that doesn't seem to be how Jesus does conversation. He pays attention. He stays in the now. The Father's love, he says then, is big enough to embrace the worst that can befall us, holding it until it develops into blessing. His love is like a matrix that transfigures everything put through it. Death and pain, loss and sorrow, injustice and bewilderment and longing. When these are held in the Father's love and surrender to its power, everything yields blessing. There is no limit to this, of time or space. However far gone a situation, nothing is beyond redemption. Even the challenges of global proportions. There is no shelf life to his love's transformative power. No place his touch cannot reach to save. And his judgment, his wrath, yes, it is terrifying. It shakes the heavens and the foundations of the earth, because that's what it takes. His judgment is the dark face of his love. This is impenetrable to human thought, which longs for comfort, for sunshine, wanting everything to proceed evenly. Nobody asks for a bumpy ride. And at times, when a person gets caught up in the purposes of God's love, it gets to the stage where you've just had enough, feel you can't take any more of this. Cry out at the end of your tether, Is there honestly no other way to do this? Must I really drink this bitter draught right to the dregs? But the terror, the pain, the dread even, these are the mystery of love. Gosh, okay. Not the devil attacking. Jesus sighs. He doesn't look irritated or impatient. More like inside him there is this great big vision, insight maybe, something he can see and I can't, that is just so hard to get across. The devil, he says quietly, has no dominion. The sting of death is drawn. There is only love now, but it may sometimes take everything you have. He looks up at the wild sky as the first big raindrops start to fall.